Cuonzo Martin is an outstanding person. He was a terrific role model for our student athletes, specifically our men's basketball players. And I know I and everybody connected with our athletics department at university wish him nothing but success at Cal. I would be happy now to, in just a few moments, to try to answer questions you might have. Obviously, we will immediately get into a national search. Seeking a replacement for Cuonzo as our head men's basketball coach. No searches are ever identical in nature. I said this when we were in a football search. That's just a statement of fact. And we will move as quickly as we can, as quickly as we reasonably can, to get a replacement on board. But what the timetable is oftentimes difficult to nail down. We're late in the sense that we're right on top of signing day, and the Final Four has come and gone. But we will immediately get in now to that search process. So let me just open it up for your questions. I did not know Cuonzo was involved in the California job until this morning. And we did have a conversation. He was very emotional. And bottom line, Rick, is he said that in his heart he believed that this was best for he and his family. When we returned from the tournament, we got in that Saturday afternoon, and as soon as the bus was unloaded, Cuonzo and I spent about an hour and a half in my office talking about the future, and he knew beyond the shadow of a doubt that we wanted him to remain here. We offered Cuonzo a significant reward for what he had accomplished, and that obviously is available, will be available at your request to all of you. But we offered Cuonzo close to a $500,000 raise and a 2-year extension. So that part had already been addressed. He would have been at $1.8 million with a 2. The buyout would have been $1 million, Jimmy. And you know, in this industry, you guarantee money on the front end when you hire someone. And Cuonzo took over a tough situation that he inherited when he took this job. But typically, the risk is at the beginning. The risk is not in your 4th, 5th, or 6th year. So traditionally, that buyout goes down. For a matter of fact, Cuonzo's buyout next year would have been $850,000. But what we had packaged for him was the buyout would have been $1 million. I didn't put a specific, hey, I got to have this tomorrow type of a timetable on it, so I wanted him to have time. I don't think, one man's opinion, I don't think Cuonzo's decision was driven by dollars or was driven by necessarily number of years. I don't. It was a tough year. And again, I don't want to speak for Cuonzo. It was a tough year for Cuonzo and Roberta. There were a lot of distractions. You know what they were. You reported on them. Pretty tough for those young men, and I've talked to them, and they have unsolicited as the end of the year was progressing, made comments how tough that was.
Dave, we talked about the passion of the fan base. In this case, and what happened this year, was it misguided? Was this part of the reason why all those petitions, et cetera, why Cuonzo maybe stepped back and said, maybe this isn't the place for me?
Again, Rick, I have too much respect for Cuonzo to speak for Cuonzo, so I don't know. I really, it wouldn't be appropriate for me to speculate on what's in his heart or what he's thinking. But again, we hope he'll continue to be very successful in this new opportunity. Well, I don't have any problem moving forward. We'll hire. There'll be interest, and we'll hire the very best person that we can. I don't think there are issues in that regard. What we offered Cuonzo would have made him a top 30 coach in the country. No, I think this is an extremely attractive job. We have history, we have tradition, we have one of the finest venues in the country to play college basketball. So no, I'm not concerned about that. Jimmy?
What do you tell the 4 signees from November?
I had an opportunity just an hour and a half, 2 hours ago at the most, to meet with our team and to talk to them. And you know, I've been through this scenario a number of times, and it's always very difficult because the players are always very emotional. They become very attached to the head coach for all the reasons you would expect. So that's always hard to visit with those young men. We also reached out to the 4 prospects and tried to reassure all of them, Jimmy, that, you know, we know it's tough. You're 17 to 22 years old and you get a surprise. They did not expect that we would be dealing with a transition today. So that's difficult for them, and we've reassured them that we understand that my door's open, John Gilbert's door's open, that they should come to us, call us. We've got all their numbers. They know how to reach us. That we'll be happy to have those conversations with them, and to the extent possible, keep them in the loop of the search process. In terms of the timing, what's going on, we won't talk about candidates, those types of things, but it's a tough day for the young men who are involved in this transition. It's a tough day for the families. You've heard me say this when we went through the football transition. We'll go into the search process with a very similar profile that we discussed when we were in the football process. Now again, we would seek as a priority someone with head coaching experience. That does not eliminate people, it just says that that is our initial priority. We're looking for a track record. You've heard me talk about this. You don't always end there. Perhaps at the end of the day, we don't attract someone with a significant track record. Perhaps we attract a rising star. I don't know. All that is hard to forecast. But to answer your question, John, you know, the rising star is different in terms of the financial package than the person with an outstanding track record. I'm looking for somebody who's a winner, somebody who's won where they've been, and you just don't know until you conclude the process what you're going to be looking at in terms of your priorities and who rose up. You know, you could be sitting in front of somebody that maybe is not the #1 target, but they come across as so impressive that you know that, hey, this is the person. And you've heard me talk about this. I think fit's important. I've always felt that in my entire career. I think fit is critically important, and we'll look for a person that we deem to be a very good fit. Yes, I mean, today is also a surprising day for me. I did not think that we would be back into to where we find ourselves today. You know, and Cuonzo said it, and any minute, we have a phenomenal fan base. And you've heard me say this many times, give me the passion. You know, we have a very passionate fan base, and I think Rick was the one that said earlier, can passion sometimes be misdirected? Sure, it can at times. But we're very, very blessed with a really passionate fan base.